just going live, and just took my clip out of my hair because it was hurting. Hello. welcome. I guess I'm welcoming myself onto Facebook. Where am I? Instagram Live. So welcome. Hey, Clarita. Just going to take a deep, long breath in and let it out. Deep breath in. Coming into this moment. It's really nice at this time of day here in Florida. Hey, Cheryl. It's 6 o'clock on Eastern Standard Time here in Florida, and in the shade, it's like a little bit cooler. There's a little breeze, and I'm happy to be here. I am fulfilling my word to myself. Hey, Lauren. Hey, girl. Fulfilling my word to myself. This is day 9 of 30 lives in 30 days, and happy to be outside. There's no rain. There's a little breeze. It feels really good, and I'm intending on doing these earlier and earlier, so that, hey, Corey, hey, girl, earlier and earlier, so that I can start to go to bed earlier, because I've been seeing myself be a little out of discipline, and with discipline there is freedom. And so out of discipline, I'm going to sleep later, and then it's like making my sleep weird. And anyway, so if I do these lives a little earlier, then I could do my bedtime routine earlier. So anyway, so I'm happy to be here. And so as I was sitting with, what am I going to talk about today for the live, I remembered my commitment to being vulnerable and to telling my truth. This is different than doing a program online where I have my outline and my agenda. Right now, my agenda is to, I guess, really just get in touch at a deeper level with my authentic voice, and also to practice being vulnerable in a way that that serves anybody who's watching, either live or on the replay, and also, I guess, in some ways serves me, right? So I wanted to share a little bit about an experience I had today that I'm going to be sitting with even after this in so much gratitude, that that gave me growth and expansion. Hey, Amy. It gave me growth and expansion. And so I think I'm going to be really tired tonight. But, and the puppy's over here. Come here, Brownie. Oh, okay. She's resting. Okay. So anyway, so I had an opportunity for growth today. So those of you that are in personal development, you know what I mean. That means that something uncomfortable happened, and then I decided to glean lessons from it and start to learn whatever it is I need to learn from it, right? And that means doing my shadow work. That means going into the part of me that doesn't feel good, right? So this is what I lead my clients with, and I am fortunate enough to have developed some friendships with people that are of the vibration that I strive to stay in and rise to when I fall down. And so I got to I got to get support of a friend today, Cheryl, who I think might still be on here. And so that was really, I'm so grateful. And so what happened? I'll build context first. So in my personal history, in my relationships, hey, Nellie, in my relationships, in my personal history, I have played out relationships where I have been in playing the role of the people pleaser. Maybe some of you can relate. And so what I've learned over the years is that we play the role of people pleasing because it kept us safe at some point in our lives, right? When we people please, we tend to close down our throat, our voice, or our truth, so that it can keep us safe. So that if we close down our voice, especially if it's different than what the other person wants to hear or what you think that they want to hear, then they stay happy with you and they won't abandon you, they won't betray you, they won't judge you, right? You'll be all good. What I have learned over the years is, through my own experience and through my clients' experiences and my students' experiences, is that can actually get you really sick if you live that way, right? If you live that way and you're people pleasing and you're closing down your voice, then eventually things happen in your body that don't feel good, because the body, well, we're now all familiar with the book, The Body Keeps the Score, right? So the body just remembers and remembers, and the body communicates. So the good thing about doing this work for all of these years is that I'm able to connect with it sooner, right? So this doesn't take me a long time to see, hey, like, what's happening here? And so it might take me a little bit to process what's happening, but I'm so in touch with my body that the second that something feels off, I feel it. And so for me, I feel it normally in my stomach, my throat, or my jaw. And so you might think about where you might feel it in your body. The body talks to you. The body gives you messages of discomfort. And so, like I have, right now, one of my clients, she feels it in her neck. I've had other clients that felt it in their heart, right? So other ways. Anyway, I digress. So, and this person is important to me for a lot of different reasons. And this person asked me for information that I wasn't comfortable giving. And I needed to sit with it. Hey, Olivia. I needed to sit with it because I know that whatever happens outside of me is showing me something inside of me, right? So I needed to sit with, like, I actually started to question myself, question my own judgment. And I started to, as I looked at it from different perspectives, it still all came back to the same thing. It didn't feel good in my body. It didn't feel good in my body. And I also was, if you've seen my stories, I've been working with this animal that I'm sitting for who's been really struggling. So I've been giving her a lot of Reiki and a lot of love and attention as she's been struggling physically and also emotionally. So I didn't have full capacity to respond to her in great detail right away. And one of the lessons I've learned is that, because in the past I've taken more time than other people are comfortable with to get grounded and clear, and that could make people around me uncomfortable. But this wasn't that. This was, I responded, but not fully, because I was giving my full attention to this animal and other things that were coming up that needed my urgent attention. Anyway, with that being said, I really needed to sit with this, and I started to realize that I was having so much discomfort in my body that I was feeling it in my chest, in my jaw, and I needed to do some work. So I approached it both somatically with my physical body, where I used my voice, my breath, movement, and then I also utilize my journal, right? So I went at it mentally, and then I connected with a trusted friend who I know is on this similar path, who can hold the space, who I knew would be honest with me and share with me if I was out of line. Very similar to what I do for my clients. It's what she does with her clients. Just happened to be fortunate enough to have her as a friend. And so, and as I sat with this, I started to come to some of my own truths about it, and I responded to this person. And so with, hey hey, Carice. And so I responded to this person knowing I was taking a chance that this person wasn't going to be happy with me. And based on my old traumas, if somebody wasn't happy with me, that meant abandonment, that meant betrayal, that meant judgment. Oh, wait, hold on. Where's the ball? Oh, okay, here you go. Ooh! She's feeling a little better. Okay. Let me just take a breath because now I forgot where I was at. I'm so happy she's feeling better. It's like nothing else matters. So basically telling my truth in the past and what my body remembers is that telling the truth meant hurt, basically. But as I teach my clients and lead my clients, I also lead myself. And so over the years, I've gotten much better at it, but I've seen over the last year or so that the lessons have been getting deeper and wider, and like God, the universe wants me to clear out this shit, like, excuse my French, clear out this heaviness on a much deeper level, and I think in a more permanent level. So I welcome the challenges. So I said what I needed to say in a very kind way and let this person know that I was not comfortable sharing that information. And the person didn't take it very well. They took personal offense to it and felt that that I didn't trust them, and that it made this person not trust me. This person was telling me that it was making her go about me. And so I communicated with her. You're allowed to use all the French you know. Thank you, honey. I'm not sure what the rules are on Instagram, and I'd like to remain on here so I could express myself with clean language. But anyway, so the conversation did go back and forth, and I noticed as I was communicating my truth, my child body, my child self was like afraid that because this person is important to me. I really enjoy this person's company, this person's knowledge. I respect this person, and I wanted this person to remain in my life. And I don't know if any of you have ever experienced self-abandonment, but in the past, I have a list of relationships that I've self-abandoned, including my partner relationships. And what I experienced in that is that it made me very sick. And so, and I mean physically, but body talks. And so I made a decision a long time ago that that's not going to happen anymore. So that means saying my truth and taking the risk that my child self would worry about losing that person. And so that takes a lot of courage as we're breaking through complex trauma, right? So those of you that might have experienced trauma or even complex trauma, the distinction is complex trauma means it was repeated. This is a simple way of explaining it, but repeated on the daily, on the weekly, on the monthly, on the yearly. So it was trauma that happened all the time that was just felt like regular existence. So when you start to uncover that, the body just knows it as truth. That when you start to teach the body something different, it doesn't believe you at first. So that's why, like, affirmations are great, journaling is great, all of that. But when you use the voice, when you use the body, and then you go into practice, this is where you start to teach your body, and you start to realign your chakras, you realign your cells to a new truth. But that takes courage, and that also takes awareness, and that also takes bringing in love frequency. So I chose to access love frequency for myself, love frequency for this other person, knowing that we're both coming from a space that is of honor and integrity. We just had different versions of what that meant. And so, as I said, back to the conversation, which I did call this person, and they didn't pick up. So I left a voicemail, and then we had texting, and anyway, it was getting to a point where it was not intensifying. We were just clarifying truths, and she expressed how she doubted me. She felt that I was doubting her. And that's where it's really important to use your voice. Since I knew that she wasn't going to pick up the phone, I left a voice note just explaining that I wouldn't have felt comfortable giving that information to anybody, because that was my level of integrity, and that's what I felt was that wasn't in my comfort zone. And so I wanted to make it clear that it was, and so the idea, I guess the details don't matter, but I wanted to make it clear that it was not about her, this person personally. And so as that happened, I used a voice note because I knew it was important for the person to hear my voice, to hear if you hear squeaking, that's the dog. She's in a better mood. And so I wanted her to hear my energy, because when we text, a lot of times we lose that. There's too much room for interpretation. And since there was no opportunity to get on the phone, I did that. In the end, on the last part of the texting conversation, this person sent me a smiley face, and I also took time to allow my body to feel what it feels like to speak truth without making the other person bad, without making the other person wrong. And also realizing that with all the work I've done over the years, that this anxiousness still does come up, especially with people that have a certain type of personality, and also when they're really important to me. And so, and I honor that in myself. Like, how beautiful is that, hey, Susan, how beautiful is that, that I care enough that I care that much, right? So it made me have compassion for myself and love for myself, that, I do care about what somebody else thinks. And at the same time, now I've raised myself on the ladder. So in the past, it would be like, I care about you, so I'm going to make your needs more important than mine. And now it's like, no, I care about your needs, and I also care about mine, right? So that I get to speak my truth with courage, and then in my body, in my cellular memory, I am reprogramming that speaking my truth means that they're going to judge me or leave me. And sometimes that might actually happen. But what I'm seeing is that the people that I'm attracting into my life now are also on the path of awakening. And even if they feel comfortable, that's not happening, right? But telling yourself the truth just cognitively is not it's not enough. You have to live it. And so that's why it's so important to have support. So it is my passion and my joy when I work things like this through with my clients. Like a few weeks ago, I had somebody that we were working through how she was going to be around certain family members, and she was lucky enough to have family members that she could actually speak with in this way, and they were open a certain amount to change and to awareness, and that is so beautiful. And she was very fortunate, and with the preparation that we had together, she stepped into it in such an amazing way, along with other tools that I taught her about grounding and about releasing somatically. But back to my story. So this took a lot of energy for me, but it was one of those things that I know that God or Source put in front of me to step up to my next level. And so when you have my invitation in sharing this story is that when you have a situation that's challenging, and especially with another human being, to be patient with yourself when you're working through how it feels in your body. And it's okay to feel anger, frustration, and actually it's more than okay. It's what you're supposed to feel. And so I did all of that today. I let myself feel those feelings that were not comfortable at all. And God knows, I just wanted to sit down and do creation, right? I just wanted to, I'm cleaning up my one-on-one program and adding to the modules, and that's what I wanted to do. But this is a part of the work. And so, to live it and to clear this energy and to be a clean, clear channel for a higher vibration means facing it head on. It doesn't mean, just brushing it off. And so I know most of the world wants to brush it off when it doesn't feel good or when it gets hard. And sometimes that's appropriate. Sometimes it just doesn't feel the right time to do that. But always to come back. Always to come back. Don't let it get buried. So right now, how do I feel? I feel like, I knew it took a while for this person to understand. And what I did share with this person was, it's okay if we think differently. That's what makes the world go round. And the message I was giving was, I still accept you. I still love you, right? We can feel differently, and we can still be friends, and we can still support each other and cheer each other on, and we don't have to feel the same way about everything. And also, if I don't agree with you, it's not personal. It doesn't mean that I don't think that you're high integrity. It doesn't mean that I don't think that you're anything less. It's just that we have two different opinions. And so how freeing is that to be in relationships with people and be able to share your truth? And sometimes your truths are going to be different, and how wonderful is that if both people can be okay with that, not just like, oh fine, and really inside be resentful, but to actually be like, all right, I can see that person feels that way, but I really don't feel that way when I connect with my heart. When my body was saying no, I chose how my body felt. But I also did the work first. I also checked in to make sure, am I grounded? Am I triggered? Is there any other influences coming in that are taking me away from my truth? But once I touched on all of that, released any anxiety that was in my body, or enough that I can get grounded and clear, and then also receive support from God, from my journal, from a friend, I was able to realize what some of the old stories were telling me that were not true anymore. And I got to show my little girl inside of me that it's safe to say your truth, and not just by telling her that, but by actually doing it and being okay. And when the last text had a smiley face, I kind of saw that reflection back to me that, she's probably feeling her feels too, this person. And that's great, right? We both get to feel our feelings. And so this just was a very significant thing that happened today, because, we're all adults that walk around with experiences. And as Erin mentioned yesterday, she was like, we get to, rewrite the story. And what she meant by that is that, our bodies might experience things that are happening in the present that feel like the past, but they're actually different now. And so that's where we get to pause and do this kind of work so that we could come back to it from a present moment interpretation and perception. And that's how we get to ascend and change our stories. And so how beautiful is that? And as we do this, and those of you that are having children and you get to show your children a new way, just give it another generation and there's going to be so much less trauma. Look, the chime just got really loud and I just got chills up and down my neck. Oh my God. This is so beautiful how we're shifting the world just by going into the fire, right? So today I went into the fire and I came out and I'm feeling so much better. And oh, thank you, Therese. You have to come play the flute again in my class. We have to chat. And so I'm inviting you to look at your stories without judgment, with a lot of love. And perhaps if you have an experience that comes up in your present moment, maybe in the past week or maybe in the future week, where can you turn it around? Where can you sit with it, with those feelings that we desperately don't want to feel? Why do you think that there's so much addiction in this world right now? Because it gets so hard. We don't want to feel it. But if you can do it, if you can take a little time and use your breath and use your voice and use movement, and feel free to send me a message if you need suggestions, or keep your eye out for future things that I'll be offering. And if we can get through that moment where it's really, really hard, you can get to the other side, and we are reprogramming our body at the cellular level, like our body's memory. And how cool is that? And then my guess is that as we practice this, it gets faster and faster, right? I know with other things that I've moved through in my life, from here to here, like here, from where I am to where I want to be, gets shorter and shorter and shorter. And so with the bigger traumas, that happens too. And how cool is that we get to do this together? So thank you for being here in my space to allow me to share, and to know that it's okay to have your healthy boundaries, to say, like, this isn't actually okay for me. This doesn't feel good in my body, right? And it can happen in so many different ways. This can come up in places of employment. This can come up with your friends, with lovers, right? So how many times have you hesitated to say your truth or to say no? And just know that it's safe and it's okay, and don't just take my word for it. Practice it, maybe on little things first. Tell the truth. And the most important thing is tell the truth to yourself. And sometimes that could be the hardest part. And that's okay. We can do that with practice, with love, with support, and maybe a little anger release too. All right. Well, thank you again for listening. I'm going to sign off. Take care of this puppy who wants to play catch. Woo! And just be in gratitude for all of this. So thank you so much. Sending love. Namaste, everybody.